Well, Matt, thanks for joining us for this week's 10-Minute Tuesday. Appreciate you taking some time out. And we just want to kick off by maybe introducing ourselves. Maybe you go first, Matt, and tell us who you are. Tell those who are watching who you are and what you do.
Sure. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, privileged to be on 10 Minute Tuesday. My name is Matt Campbell. I work for Baptist Youth. I've been working for Baptist Youth for about 4.5 years. So yeah, I've been really enjoying that. And from Ballymena, and yeah, just enjoying lockdown as much as I possibly can, Dave. Trying to make the most of it.
Good, man. And you are engaged, Matt, are you? Tell us a bit about that. How's that
Yes,
gone in lockdown?
it's gone well. It's been a bit longer than anticipated. We were supposed to get married, Annie and I, in April time, but obviously that was just pretty much as soon as lockdown began. So we've got about 2 more dates in the pipeline. So I've said to Annie that she can never expect me to remember our anniversary because I've got about 5 dates in my mind now, and I've no idea. I don't even know what the next one is. It's the 24th or 26th of August, and 25th of October. I don't know.
So I think maybe Annie will be looking for multiple presents at multiple times
Yeah,
in the
maybe,
years that we're looking for.
perhaps. I don't know.
Well, Matt, thanks for joining us. Appreciate that. And as you said, you're from Baptist Youth, and really, what we want to talk about today is youth, young people, and how we can maybe approach that subject, and how we're talking about youth and how they're coping in the pandemic and in lockdown. And I know some of those measures have eased over the last week, but we still feel like this is an important conversation to have. So we want to just take the next few minutes today, I suppose, to talk about that. And I suppose the first point, Matt, I want to talk to you about, and maybe you can help us as we have this dialogue, is the challenges that maybe the young people have faced during this pandemic season. I mean, we've been thrown into it, didn't really know it was coming, and it came just like a switch almost, and it was here. And what challenges do we think the young people, the youth of this day, have faced through this season?
Yeah. I think there are probably a number of challenges. Some of them are just common challenges that all of us face, and then some of them are maybe more specific to young people. But as I think through the challenges, you've got things like loneliness is a big one. I think this generation of young people are a lonely generation anyway, and so I think this has compounded it. You've obviously got then your mental health concerns, and I know you've done a 10-minute Tuesday on this before already, so you've already touched on that. But I think, yeah, probably a lot of the good practices that we would promote for good mental health have kind of been stripped away. Things like hanging out with friends or going to the gym, all those things we're unable to do. So that's another concern. I think then online content can be more damaging. Obviously, we already say to this generation that they're very active online, and that can be very damaging for different reasons. Yeah. But obviously, when you're in lockdown, it's your only real option. So things like for girls, it might be the temptation to compare yourself with other people. For guys, there are other temptations as well, particularly what you view online. There's particular temptations, and so I think that's just been heightened as well during lockdown as you've got more time in your hands. I think another one as well is maybe the one we don't always think about is that for many young people, they come from broken homes, and being locked at home is actually a disaster. Many of us think of home as a safe place, but for many young people, it's not a safe place. It might not be true for young people in our churches. It could be, but it might be true for maybe young people who come to, say, your youth club, or even the friends of the young people in your church. And that can be quite difficult for them to try and counsel them.
Yeah.
I suppose another big thing is anxiety. Maybe that's linked to the mental health idea, but just that idea of the future being so uncertain, particularly for young people with their exams being cancelled. Ones who are maybe hoping to go to university in September, and maybe had worked really hard for this set of exams, and all of a sudden they discover that those exams aren't happening. And just a lot of unknown at the minute. And so I think all those things kind of contribute to making it a really difficult time. And I do feel sorry for this generation in one way. That their life has been marked by these big chaotic events. It started with 9/11, and then you get to the likes of ISIS, and you get to the Manchester bombings, and now this. Yeah. It just feels like their whole life has been marked by these danger signs that have been coming closer and closer to home.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, there's challenges that they've faced, and we've faced probably being slightly younger guys that maybe a previous generation haven't, although maybe they faced it in a slightly different way and different circumstances. We get that, but I think that's really helpful. Actually, the idea actually of loneliness and anxiety, we maybe place that sometimes on a slightly older generation, that they maybe are lonely and feel anxious, but actually we have to realize that translates all the way down into our young people, and not just teenagers and the youth of our society, but actually even I know we're talking about the youth today, but even down to our younger children as well. I think that they feel that as well. They're not immune, probably that's a good way to put it, to all of those things. And probably the same, actually, Matt, as I think about it. The other things that you've said there about online content also translate beyond these teenage years as well. And so our teenagers have to deal with all this. Our youth are facing all of these challenges. And as you say, maybe not always in a safe and loving environment at home.
Yeah.
Some are, and we give thanks to God for that. But some maybe aren't experiencing that. And so the lockdown is maybe putting on a pressure that they never have had before, because they were able to go out and get away from all the things that they're now essentially stuck with. And so there's a lot of challenges there, definitely. But then, Matt, I suppose if we press on, that they're the challenges that we're maybe not an exhaustive list, but some of the things that we're definitely facing these days with regards to our young people. Then what, on the flip side, are the good things then that have come out of the pandemic? Because there are good things that have happened. This is not all dreary and sad. There are some good things and things that we can actually maybe change our perspective on and help us to think positively. What do you think they are, Matt? Can you help us out with that?
Yeah, I think there are a number, and I think all of us can maybe identify, areas which this suggestion has helped us see. We were talking earlier in the week about rest and how the importance of rest. I think there are a number of those for young people. For example, we would probably say this generation of young people are more individualistic than previous generations. They maybe don't see the value in church. But I think, in a sense, now that church has been completely stripped away from them, in a very extreme sense, actually they kind of realize, I can't run this Christian life alone, and I actually need my church family. And so that kind of sense of God taking something completely away from us, to expose our need for it, I think has been really, really important for young people. And you could say the same for other areas. We talked about the loneliness. I suppose we've always said that this generation aren't good at face-to-face contact because they're always so used to contacting people online. And again, that's just another area where kind of, okay, well then all face-to-face contact now has been stripped from you. And then you actually realize and start to see the real value of it. Yeah. So I think those things that maybe we were already not good at being totally removed from us have kind of shown us actually these things that we maybe didn't value before are actually really, really important things. Yeah. And I think one other thing which I sense could be a good thing from this pandemic is family discipleship. So I think as you look at the Bible, you see that the primary discipler of young people are their parents and other families. And I think for a lot of families, this has been a good time for them to be forced to do family discipleship as they watch church online at home. And it's maybe got those conversations going and got those kind of moments within the family doing discipleship together, which they wouldn't actually have done before because they just may think, oh, my young person here's at a youth group or at CU or whatever the case may be. So I think that's been really positive actually. And hopefully that's something then which gains momentum as we go back into normality, that even parents and families see the value of family discipleship. Yeah. And then probably finally, the last thing I'd probably touch on is just young people have seen maybe quite tangibly the hope that we have in Jesus Christ. One thing that just hits you in the face as you read the news and as you see everything that's going on is our world is terrified of death. Yeah. And so I think it's been helpful for young people to see actually death has been conquered by Christ. And so as Christians, we have this hope. And so we all, usually the world looks so shiny and everything they offer looks really fun and exciting, but actually when you strip it all back, death is the great enemy. And yet it's the one thing that we've got victory over through Christ who's defeated it on our behalf. So I think those are a couple of things that I'd pick up on, which probably could be positive in the long term as a result of lockdown.
No, they're really, really, really helpful, Matt. And I think that's right. I mean, in the moment, in the middle of March time, a few months ago, everything was gone, wasn't it? So I mean, everything we enjoyed, everything we had at our fingertips, everything that we felt was worth was essentially void. It was not void. It was unusable, and so maybe this is a time where we, as young people and even as us, as adults, we think about, the brevity of stuff and look beyond ourselves to the one who conquered death, and as death creeps on our doorstep, as we see it all around us, we sort of able to lift our eyes from that. But I think your point about family discipleship, Matt, I think that's huge. We've certainly enjoyed that. We've a 2-year-old girl, but we certainly enjoyed some more time together, and enjoying those moments maybe that we didn't have before, because we have a little bit more time to do that. And instead of, I think maybe what you're saying is this, as much as the church is a vital place for our kids to be at and for us to send them to, maybe this was an opportunity for us to wake up to actually how do we establish good discipleship within our own family, and how do mums and dads and mums or dads or whatever it may be in your household take this opportunity to speak into our kids' lives and start new things in the house. And I think that's huge, Matt. But like we said last week, we were talking about church with Paul and Ollie in the last week's 10-minute Tuesday, and we were saying just the vitality of church, what we need it, we miss it, and maybe this season has heightened our awareness of actually we can't do this Christian walk without being together and fellowshipping and worshipping together, wherever that may be. So I think that's really huge. Okay, time's pressing on. Lastly then, Matt, what should we do? What can we do as churches, as leaders, as we look at trying to encourage our young people in these days? What can we do?
Yeah, really briefly, I'd say just probably check in with them and be intentional about checking in with them once we're able to meet again, and help them just see the richness of a church family. So, make the effort to go to the young person, to chat to them, to check how they've been doing, and help them just experience that richness of church fellowship in its fullness once everything's lifted. Pray for them, and maybe someone's watching this and they're a lot older and they kind of would find it a bit random and awkward to kind of go to a teenager and chat them, or send them a text at this time. But even check in with their parents, encourage their parents, as we think about that idea of family discipleship. Check in with their parents is maybe a more indirect way of supporting and helping young people. And if you come across any good resources during this time, then definitely send them to your young people. They're absorbing a lot of content at the moment, so we want them to absorb good content. And if you find anything good, why not encourage them, even just by sending them a text or a message and saying, here's something I think you would really enjoy, praying for you. There's a really simple way of checking in and encouraging young people.
Well, Baptist Youth have good content at the moment, Matt. I mean, you guys have been putting out a lot of content online daily almost. So, I mean, tell us a bit about that. How can we plug into that finally then?
Yeah, trying to release stuff kind of every day. So we've done a number of different things. We did a devotional through 1 Corinthians for about 60 days. And we've moved on to 1 now and 1 Peter. And we're doing things like these with our interns from last year, releasing them every other Monday. And then we just started a new series recently called Big Questions. So kind of taking some of the big questions that young people have and trying to answer them. So yeah, we post online fairly regularly, so you can follow us on Instagram, on Facebook, and the usual, and follow along with some of that content. It'd be great.
Well, I'll maybe put the link above this video so that people can connect with that. Matt, thanks so much. We appreciate you taking some time out again today to do that. Thanks for your friendship as well, and it's good to catch up with you and see you. And we will put this out. Hopefully this will be a great benefit and help to people who are maybe struggling these days, teenagers and maybe parents, as they look after their young people as well, their kids. So thanks, Matt. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.